What's up, everybody? I am finally back, or I shouldn't even say back, because this is like really the first video of the MLB 15 to show of the whole lifespan of this game. This is my first video set up to be the beginning of a series. I gave you a little bit of, a couple videos early on, just when the game first came out or whatever, and we were talking about breaking the curse and all of that sort of thing. But I kind of made a decision, and I kind of let people in on this on an earlier video that I had, that I was going to stop the Breaking the Curse series. But I wasn't stopping it and saying, just for no reason. I stopped it because I felt like I had another idea that I thought was better. And I think and I'm gonna be honest, as long as I stay to this particular idea, I think you guys, and I'm talking to my faithful subscribers who I desperately appreciate, I think you guys will probably like this better, because it's a twofold thing. So what you're looking at right now is called the Chicago Cubs franchise, but it's called The Future Is Now, because everybody knows the Cubs are have one of the best young rosters in all of the major leagues. If you look at who they already have up, as well as guys that they have in the minor leagues, like Albert Almora, Kyle Schwarber, C.J. Edwards, Vogelbach. I mean, it's just, you could just keep going. Javier Baez, just keep going on and on. So I remember sometime last year when I was doing the Breaking the Curse, that people were asking, they were like, well, if you really want to break the curse, then you should use the real Cubs. And that kind of got to me a little bit. I was like, you're kind of right, I kind of feel like that. But I was into the Breaking the Curse thing, and I was like, cool. And the other thing is, I love doing fantasy drafts, right? So that was my dilemma. But with me really grasping what this whole thing means to be able to carry over saves, it really kind of just eliminates that pressure of, oh my God, I'm wondering, can I finish the season, and before the next one comes out. And I've told you guys before, over and over again, I really truly believe that this is a feature that every single sports game should have. But as of right now, MLB The Show is the only one that has it. So basically, I decided to restart this with the Cubs. The Future Is Now, using the real Cubs roster. Now I went and you can see Chris Bryant is there. So I got the roster from Operation Sports that has the actual minor league roster. So this was even before Chris Bryant was added in, but the rating is actually, overall rating is not too far off. So if you look through here, you got Javier Baez, you got everybody who is basically a part of the higher portions. Well, even some of the single A guys are here in this roster. So we did pretty decent with that. Now, what I did kind of notice is that I got to change the jersey numbers if I can, because I think Chris Bryant's wearing like 19, he's supposed to be 17, and Addison Russell is wearing 4, and he's supposed to be 22. So it's a couple of those things that I need to change. But of course, you got to get Chris Bryant to the major leagues, add him to the 40-man roster, put him on, put him with the major league team. Now, here's the thing. So a lot of people, it's not just me, actually really do enjoy fantasy drafts, doing that whole thing. So I gotta scratch that itch in some way, right? I gotta get that. I gotta still do that. I don't want to not have, that whole thing represented. I need to get that in there. So you're not gonna see this in this particular episode, but I am doing another franchise mode, and it is going to be called Southside Fantasy. Now, if you just think for a second, you guys are probably already going to be able to figure out what the theme of that is going to be. I'm not one of those Cub fans who hate the Chicago White Sox. I don't. Like I tell people all the time, I am married to the Cubs. I just date the Sox. That's the way it is. A lot of people in Chicago feel like automatically, if you're a Cub fan, you gotta hate the Sox, and vice versa. Never been that way at all. But I will confess that I am more of a Cub fan than a Sox fan. So Cubs play the Sox, I'm rooting for the Cubs. Just that simple. But Sox play anybody else in the major leagues, I'm rooting for the Sox. That's just the way it is. So, in light of that, I'm not as attached to the Chicago White Sox roster. So I don't feel, oh my God, like I'll lose my mind if I don't have Jose Abreu. I don't feel like that. I don't feel like, oh my God, I'll lose my mind if I don't have Chris Sale. I don't feel like that. So I'm going to do a fantasy draft with the Chicago White Sox. And that way I'll get a chance to, spread my wings and as a virtual general manager. Because that part of the game is so awesome. You got to get that in. You got to get that in. You see, I'm not a real fan of David Ross. We're not going to have John Lester have his own personal catcher. We're going to get David Ross off this roster because I think we got some other people that we can do something with. Now, there's the talk about the trade happening with the Cubs, with the Cubs and the Mets. So I'm going to explore that in this particular series because Cubs, one of the main things that they do need to add is some young arms. Got all the young bats they can handle, but they need some young arms. And so we'll have to think about moving in and getting that. But moving back to that Chicago White Sox series for a second. So yeah, the other aspect of that is this. The other good thing about that is, yes, you do have interleague play, but if you play a franchise mode as an American League team and as a National League team, you kind of get to experience every single ballpark. And so I like that, especially since I do play from the broadcast view. So anybody who has watched my videos for a long period of time know that I play from the broadcast view, which means that I actually hit from the behind the pitcher view. I've gotten pretty decent at it. So, one thing is I think it's a little bit better for, the viewer. If you're watching on YouTube, it gives you more of the sense of like you're watching on TV because that's the view you watch when you watch a game on television. So that's kind of my thought of it. And also, I like to play from a view that looks more like real television. That's just, I'm that way with every sports game. If I could play Madden from the broadcast view, I would. But you can't see down the field. So it is what it is. So I'm right now, what you're seeing on the screen is me putting together this Cubs roster. No gameplay in this particular episode. You're going to have to wait for the next one for that. Also, the one thing I'm also not going to do this year that I did last year, and I think it really slowed down the episodes, I'm not going to stack an entire series into every episode. One, it makes the videos really long. Two, the production time that it takes for me to make one video really elongates it. So it's the reason why there was always so much time. One of the reasons why there was almost always so much time in between episodes because, it took a lot to put together a full episode. So I'm not going to do that this year. It's going to be one game per episode. And so most of the episodes are probably going to be somewhere between 6 to 8 or 6 to 9 minutes, depending. Now, I kind of, use this method of playing when I did the Breaking the Curse. I had the first game, kind of alternated through the different types of ways you can play the show. So first I play a full game, then I play a quick counts game, then I play a player lock, and I rotate through all of the positions on the diamond. So first I start off as a catcher. The next player lock game that comes around, the first I start off as a pitcher. The next player lock game that comes around, I'm a catcher, then the third baseman, moving over to the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7, the 8, and the 9 on the diamond or on the baseball field. One thing I felt like it helped me kind of move through the season a little bit, even though I did get stagnated. And I also felt like it helped me actually add some variety to the game. Not that it gets boring playing a full game, but, kind of gets fun as extra challenging too. Say a game comes up and you really, really need it. Really, really need the game, but my process has me stuck as, playing as Miguel Montero only. So that's interesting. It can be frustrating, but, for the most part, I think it's pretty cool. So that's what I'm looking to do again this year. And, hopefully it'll be as entertaining as Breaking the Curse was last year. So you can see now, here's the other thing. Spring training. As far as the Future Is Now series, which is with the Chicago Cubs, I am going to play spring training. So I kind of got a reason that I'm doing that. I know a lot of people don't want to be bothered watching. Sometimes some people like spring training, some people didn't like that part of it. I kind of dig it a little bit, but for the people who don't want to see spring training, I am actually not going to play spring training in the Southside Fantasy Series. So I'm going to do my fantasy draft and skip spring training and jump right into the regular season. Injuries and all of those roster moves and trades and all of that stuff is going to be equipped on both series. So we're going to have that full thing on both of those. But that there will be that difference there in terms of starting spring training and jumping right into the regular season on the other series, which is going to be the Chicago White Sox Southside Fantasy Series. So that's about it. It took a minute for this to get going, and I'm hoping to, keep it consistent and move right on through it. Still obviously working that NBA draft series, which you can tell over the last 2 or 3 days has been being pumped out pretty consistently. So I got an opportunity to get a little bit of momentum going with these, and I'm looking forward to keeping it flowing for until that series is over, well into this series. And obviously we know we got some other games coming out. You got the golf club came out, and that game has an awesome course designer. So I'm thinking about throwing some videos up with some courses there, maybe even some gameplay. PGA Tour is coming, Madden's coming. NHL and FIFA's coming, so got some stuff coming out, but we don't unfortunately have college NCAA, college football coming. We'd love to have that, but that's a whole nother story, right? So that's just about it for this video. I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for the Future Is Now, as well as Southside Fantasy. God bless. Peace.